Well, most Utahns will never find themselves in handcuffs or in the back of a police car. So why are our courtrooms and jails overflowing? Tonight, ABC4's Rick Aaron tells us a major part of the problem is chronic repeat offenders who cycle through the system again and again.
Police officers and prosecutors jokingly call them frequent flyers, but their effect on the justice system and taxpayers is no laughing matter. As one district attorney told me, there are not a lot of bad people in this state, just a small group who habitually break the law. The booking photos of 50-year-old Delbert Allen Sosi reveal a lifetime spent in and out of the Utah criminal justice system. Officers have arrested Mr. Sosi dozens of times since 1988, and in that span he has racked up over 350 charges, mostly for alcohol-related offenses, trespassing, and theft. Typically, he serves just a few hours in a local jail before he's released, creating a revolving door scenario that can exasperate officers and prosecutors.
It is frustrating to have those people out oftentimes before our report's even done. They've bailed out and we may be dealing with them again.
There are a few percentage that take up more than their fair share of the time in court. So we do have some chronic repeat offenders.
The frustration is that the law enforcement is seeing them on a repeated basis. We as prosecutors really can't hold them because there's no room at the jail to hold them.
Law enforcement officers and prosecuting attorneys tell me that many frequent flyers they deal with are alcoholics or drug abusers.
We've seen that with drug addicts who return over and over. They're not only using drugs, but they turn to committing crimes, property crimes. And so it is a drain on the system.
Utah spent $891,488,200 on its criminal justice system in fiscal year 2019. Some of that on 24-year-old Mauricio Novinec, who has been arrested 32 times in the last 7 years, including a dozen times in 2019 alone on a variety of charges, such as exposing himself and allegedly committing a lewd act in front of a 14-year-old girl on a front-runner train.
People repeat their sexual activity, and so if you have one victim, you almost always have multiple victims, if not hundreds of victims in some cases.
Following an arrest for theft and possession of drug paraphernalia on June 24th, Judge William Kendall wrote, "The court finds that Mauricio Adrian Novinec would constitute a substantial danger to other persons or to the community. Therefore, the court orders that Mauricio Adrian Novinec is to be held without bail." But he was still released from jail.
They have jail overcrowding, so they're going to look to see if the person has a misdemeanor offense. And generally, it is usually a violent offense that will hold a person in, and even then we struggle sometimes to keep people held.
5 days after he got out, police arrested Novinec on suspicion of exposing himself on board a Trax train. Then in July, police say Novinec broke into a woman's apartment and asked her to perform a sex act. She locked herself in a bathroom to call the police, and then he reportedly committed a lewd act on her couch and was still there nude when officers arrived to arrest him. Prosecutors say the answer lies in diversionary programs to rehabilitate abusers, addicts, and alcoholics.
There aren't enough of these programs, even though when we can prosecute them, that there isn't the sufficient oversight to get them into treatment so you can actually start to alter their behavior.
Court records show that Delbert Sosi was last arrested January 18th for public intoxication. He was released on his own recognizance and is currently free with 4 charges pending against him. Mauricio Novinec has not been arrested since last summer when a judge ordered him to the state psychiatric hospital in Provo, where he remains under evaluation. Rick Aaron, ABC4 News.